Hi, I'm Peter Cowan, the Bee Whisperer. We are on at the 15th of July at the moment, and I've been looking at the weather forecast, and for the next 10 days, 9 out of the next 10 days are going to be above 85 degrees. This is normally the time of year when I do my first mite treatment. Samples are usually rising at this time, and whilst not all of my hives by any means are hitting threshold, 1 or 2 are getting close. And so in order to get the timing right to do my mite treatments through the rest of the year, I almost always start my mite treatments about now. And looking at that weather forecast being so hot, this year it's just to be too hot and humid to be using Formic Pro for my July treatments. So instead, today we're going to be using HopGuard 3. And with HopGuard, I've made the call that I'm going to use HopGuard now instead. And that means I've got to go around all the hives. It's a more expensive treatment, so it's a little different from what I have shown before in the videos. So I'm going to be using this stuff. So let me show you. HopGuard is a messy treatment. These are the strips in here. I'm just going to put them into a bucket just to make life easier to get them out. And as well as being a messy treatment, it's a relatively expensive treatment. With HopGuard, what we need to do is use 2 of these strips for every brood chamber full of bees. So you only treat the brood chambers with HopGuard, as with most of the mite treatments. Now with the because the HopGuard is usually only good. It doesn't penetrate the brood. HopGuard does not penetrate the brood. And so what we have to do is put the strip in there. It works on the beta acid. The active ingredient are beta acids in here that the bees don't like this stuff in the hive. And so they start tearing apart this cardboard strip. And it effectively kills the mites by contact. Problem is, after about a week, most of this stuff is gone, and the mites are still in the brood, so it does not penetrate the brood like Formic Pro does. So we have to keep that dose in there for a while. So I have to go back in here at about 2 weeks and put another dose in here. So I said a week, it probably lasts for 2 weeks or so, but the brood will stay capped in there for about 3. So what I need to do is come back here in about 2 weeks and put a second dose. So as I say, it's a relatively expensive treatment, whereas the Formic Pro, which is roughly, let's say, $10 for a typical Formic Pro treatment. With HopGuard, I would say that because if you're doing it during the season where you've got brood in there, you're effectively talking more like $20 to do your mite treatment, because each of these strips works out at $4 to $5 a piece. So this is going to be messy. I have to wash everything out. I should have gloves on. I shouldn't be getting it on my hands here. I brought a damp cloth to keep my hands and my gloves a bit cleaned off, but really should wear some more protective gear than that. So I'm just going to get, let's see, this 24 strips in here, so for 12 hives. So in theory, 2 of these packs is enough. We put 2 packs in there for this yard for the first treatment. So we've got enough in here to do this, because all of my 24 hives in this yard are single brood chamber management. That's one of the huge advantages of having single brood chamber management. I only need to treat 1 super as opposed to 2. So I've halved my costs of my mite treatment there. So let's go in there, and we're going to prepare to treat using HopGuard 3. While we're at it, we'll also have a look and see how the honey flow's gone in the last week. Before we go into the hives too much, I'm going to have a look and just to see how we are doing honey-wise. We've still got a fair amount of activity going on. A tiny bit of clustering at the entrance. As warm and humid, you will normally get that. It's only about 9 in the morning, but we've got a fair amount of activity in some hives, not so much in others. But this hive looks particularly busy. I would say they found the source of food. I see a lot of bees coming straight in, not carrying pollen, but carrying nectar. You can tell that because they're not carrying pollen. And we will go into these hives and give every hive a dose of smoke, because no hive likes the mite treatment. So I just want everybody to stay calm. And before we actually open the hive, we'll give another burst of smoke. Okay, but first of all, let's go into this hive in particular. I'll treat this one first because I just want to see what's going on here. It's nice and active. I just want to see what sort of honey situation is. We put honey supers on 17 out of 24 of these hives last week, hoping that the honey flow is continuing. It's hard to say. Let's find out whether there has been a flow or not. Well, this is promising. This is my what looks like one of the strongest hives in this yard. But if you see the white here, if you come closer, you see the bits of white here. That's a sign of very, very freshly made wax, which is a sign of a honey flow. So bright white wax like that is a sign of honey flow going on, especially lots of bridging, that sort of thing. Looking down into these frames, the edges of the combs look white. This super looks like it's filling up with honey very nicely. If I'm lucky, I have to run back here with honey supers. One of the good things about Hop Guard is that you can do it all with the honey flow on. This box is almost full of honey. We do have a honey flow on. That's great. It's varying a lot from yard to yard. We can certainly see lots of white comb on here, lots of white bridging comb. So this upper brood chamber is being backfilled with honey now. So all of the brood will be emerging, if it hasn't emerged already, and filling up with honey. This frame is not particularly full, it's about a third full, but they are making honey. Good to see. Need to go into the brood chamber to get the mite treatment in. Each hive is going to be doing the same thing. Just need to queen excluder off, then we're going to be putting our Hop Guard into the brood chamber. I'm going to take 2 strips. Corrugated on one side, not on the other. You put these strips right in the midst of the brood, and you want to put it at least 2 strips apart. So you want to have at least 2 frames between your strips of Hop Guard. So you're going to do them diagonally, putting them in carefully. Try and do it slowly so we don't hurt the queen. Chances of hitting the queen are pretty low. And when I come back in about 2 weeks, I'll probably put strips here and here. But for now, a strip on either loops over the frame, goes on either side of the frame of brood there, and this treatment is done.
So Peter, Peter, I have a question.
Yeah.
So I noticed that you're doing this treatment. You're not doing any sort of real inspection at all of the brood chamber.
Correct.
And that would be because your main focus or purpose is just to come in and do the treatment. It's not to actually do an inspection and then try to do a treatment.
That's right. Basically, I can tell what's going on here because I set it up to do for normal activity. So I've set it up, I've managed the bees. Basically, I know in 95% of the hives, I know what's going on in here. We've got a queen laying in that bottom brood chamber. They're storing honey elsewhere. And so by previous experience, I don't really need to go in and check this a queen and things. I can tell just by the activity here what's going on in that brood chamber. So all I'm looking to do now is get the job done and move on with it, because I'm going to try and treat 140 odd hives over the next couple of days if I can do. So, but the good news here, what I am finding is this hive at any rate needs another honey super. So I'll be back for honey supers very shortly, because this one's nearly full. The rest of the hives will progress much more quickly, because I don't have to give a commentary as we go along, unless we see something interesting. There'll be one or two hives where I might dig into the hive a bit more because something looks wrong. I know there's one or two hives here where the brood chamber just didn't take off. I suspect I've got one or two hives with queen issues, but my priority right now is just make sure we get the mite treatments done, because they're all going to get mite treatment, so that's what's going to happen. Okay, so that one's done. Now a good one to go to might be the one I've just done. That way you won't get moved, then you won't get kicked off it.
Okay.
Not much. But also I can tell that you were taking the lid off by just the weight. Nothing more.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay, back on. Okay, go ahead. Just keep it where I can reach it too.
Okay.
Okay. Just put it out.
Okay, gotcha.
This hive still has lots of room. So let's take, I'm going to put this super on top of here.
This one here?
Yeah. Pull the lid off. Oh no, it wasn't here, sorry. It was this.
Whoops, it was
this
the one, the brown one?
Brown one, yeah.
Okay. You're going over here?
I'll go to this one here. progressing nicely. Good.
And I have your cover. We're working right over here.
I'm going to do this one now. You haven't done this
Yeah.
one.
Oh, sorry.
Not a great deal. Plenty of honey in here.
Yes.
There's an awful lot of honey in this brood chamber. That's not a good sign. Okay, thank you. Well, so that hive has found the source of nectar that the others have not. It's also got the bees to support it as well. Varies so much from hive to hive.
You want to see all the bees out here on the side.
Yeah, I saw. Yeah. That's often the case. Done that one.
Yep.
Put a few buttons used as a base.
Yeah.
I'll put things down in the grass. No, very little happening in the honey supers right now. Most of them are light as a feather. So some hives are finding nectar, others are not. bees don't necessarily like mite treatments. We'll see a bit of that today. What I want to show you is got another hive that's found a nectar source. So, nice. It's funny how some hives will find the nectar and some hives do not. Cover it. We've got honey flow here. This one needs a super.
And I have a foil cover.
Nice, that's what we like to see. It's mostly probably because of the strength of the colony. The strongest ones, as usual, the stronger ones are producing the surplus. Those that are even just a bit shy strength-wise are not producing any surplus here from into the honey super like this. So, hot day. We've got all of these done. I've noted there's 6 of the hives that could have done with a second honey super. We've transferred 1 around, so there's 7 in fact. There is a flow if the hives are strong enough to find it or take advantage of it. So I'll be coming back around here with another 6 supers or so to top up the ones that can take advantage of this flow. There's no urgency. There's still a bit of room in the brood chamber, a bit of room in both in the honey super. So things are going okay, but I'll try and get another honey super on here in the next day or two. Try and take advantage of what flow we have. So go off to another yard, do more of the same thing before it gets too hot. And we're at the Bangor yard, do the same thing. We are going to do a hop guard treatment. It's too hot to use Formic Pro, so we're going to be doing hop guard here. Now, unlike the other yard, I've got some hives with multiple brood chambers and a lot of smaller brood chambers. So some of these hives I may get away with just one strip. Others I might need to use 6, 8 strips. Who knows, depending on how many supers have brood in them. Well, we will find out now. Well, we've had enough today. It's hot. It's about 85 degrees, and we've got through them. Put mite treatment on all hives and rearranged a few of these spectacular hives, or at least the one spectacular one, which we reckon has about 160 pounds of honey in there, and moved the brood down to the bottom to make it less mite treatment required. And so it's only those 2 mediums in the deep that are brood in them now. All the rest is full of honey. And likewise, we did the same thing to the other tall ones. So there is still honey flow on. The big hives can take advantage of it, the small ones can't. But the important thing is we're getting our mite treatments underway now, and we'll be all set for the winter if we keep on schedule. I'm Peter Cowan, the Bee Whisperer. See you next time.